shul so we can talk. It's okay. Actually, I'm very thankful and beginning of course with Quad Espana for hosting this today. And of course, it makes sense that it would be either this shul or my shul in Long Island because it looks exactly the same. The pizza is really just exactly like it works very well in Long Island. I would have to say that if you do serve a kiddush like this every week, you would probably do very well. I happen to be that I'm the rabbi of the family, without the beard. I happen to be that I do owe my career to Zaida. Years ago, I was going on Prabhas, and he said to me, very important, I have to teach you one thing. Very important. He told me 10 things, 100 things. Very important. He was grabbing my arm and he said, I have to tell you. Of course, I'm forgetting who this was. He told me the story. I think he might have been a fan of the legend. He said that he went on a Prabha, and it turns out, just like yesterday, it was Berkat HaKodesh, and they asked him when the Molad was, and he didn't know, right? And he said they didn't give him the job because they didn't know the Molad. You're a rabbi, you're supposed to know the Molad. You didn't know the Molad. He gives me an Ezra's Torah Molad, right? He says, now you can get any job you want. It's a true story. So I happened to be, I was at Rosh Chodesh that week on my job, my first job, I remember, and I got the job because I knew the mullah. They didn't know what a mullah was. Now, before I begin, as it turns out, I have a very special zechut. For those of you who know, I was Zaida's favorite. Everybody knows that. And the reason being is because I was the one who made him into being an Alta Zaida. Right? If it wasn't for me, right? I guess something else would have happened along the way, but I was the first one, and I provided him with a great grandson. And how proud he was. We remember we were going through for Shlomi's Bat Mitzvah, how proud he was holding that baby as his first great grandchild. And as it turns out, my child made him to be a Zaida, and so we continued the trend. And my daughter Shlomit, who was extremely talented, wrote for school a kinna from my great grandfather, and I am going to read it for you. And Bubby, I got you a special copy. Now the truth is, that I know anything I say after this, Bubby's not listening. So remember, this is the real deal. Okay? I also have to preface. A kinna from my great-grandfather by Shlomi Ebbin. Aaron ben Zaida Shurin knew the Torah's every part. He wrote many books and was incredibly smart. He wrote Keshet Aaron and Keshet Giborim, commented on Bereshit Shemot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, and Devarim. Another thing that made him known, he was a columnist for the Yiddish language edition of the Jewish Daily Forward, writing each week for 60 years was a tradition. The Great Depression, the Holocaust, and the wars in Israel had just begun. When the Twin Towers collapsed, he was alive for each one. It is the end of an era. I've lost a connection to the past. I had lost a great teacher, a whole year, and my loss is still vast. After a ripe old age of 99, he left his family, friends, and wife. But I will always have his memory to take me through my life.
Beautiful.
If you want to kiss me. The parsha we read this past week, Parshat Shlach, thank you. We read about the Parsha of Sittim that my father-in-law made a reference to. And there at the end of the Parsha, we're all familiar with it, tells you to resemble, you'll see that. It says, and you'll remember all the mitzvot, and you won't chase after, you won't pursue, you won't spy, as the connection from the beginning of the Parsha to the end of the Parsha tells us. You won't spy after your eyes. You're already looking at my watch, like one of my colleagues, right? After your eyes will see.
Interrupt.
Yes.
When I was a rabbi, Michael Berkowitz came to the school and he said, people look at the watch. He said he doesn't mind when they look at the watch. He doesn't even mind if they listen to the watch. But he bothered him when they banged the watch on the table. But I didn't bang the watch on the table.
Where were we? Thank you. That you wouldn't pursue your eyes. It wouldn't chase after your eyes and after your hearts. that of which might lead you astray, lead you to wander. The question is that why is it that wandering or looking at things that your eyes will lead you to, why is that a bad one? Of course, we have the issue of the Yetzirah, but at the end of the day, to go out and see the world, to be able to see what the vast world can bring to us, that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, the Rambam writes in Hilchot Yisodi Yatzor and Karpet, which I've heard of saying before, the Rambam writes that that's a positive thing. How does one come to Abba and Yirat Hashem? And one comes through going out and seeing the world and being able to say how beautiful are all creation. So what's really the issue? The Malbim, who as Zaida would tell you was the chief rabbi of the world, the Malbim tells us that it depends on how or why you're going out to see the world. If you're going out to see the world to find Hashem, you're probably not likely to find it. You'll probably end up having your eyes stray, move you from one place to the next, which is not very bad. If you're going out to find the world, as many of the commentaries explain, is that you'll end up equating, to find God, you'll end up equating the world with God. You'll end up equating nature with God. It's not called pantheism. And that's, of course, idolatry. That's something that you have to be concerned about. But if you're going out to see the world after you've already found Hashem, after you're connected with God, after you're rooted in the roots that are earlier foundations, then absolutely that's a positive thing. And one is strongly encouraged to do so in order to increase and say, Marabu Ma'aseka, how beautiful we are in creation. Now, as everyone knows, Zaida was a reporter, first and foremost. And the first thing he would ask you when he would meet you, or when he would tell you you were doing something, he would ask you about 75 questions, right off the top. Where are you going? Who are you going with? When are you doing it? How are you doing it? Etc. Etc. And I remember one day we said, Zaida, don't worry about it. He said, I'm a reporter. That's what I do. Right? I'm supposed to find these things out. His job was really to paint an image for people. Paint an image for people. And that's something he did for so many years and so beautifully and so successfully as a writer. The reality is how many of us have the reason why he was so successful, and as we shared so beautifully, why he was so successful in writing to the Torah and writing about all the many things he wrote is because he was grounded in Torah. And he was grounded in the Ebbin, and grounded in Hashem and his faith, from all the way back from all the yeshivas that he graduated from Lithuania and Eretz Yisrael, etc. And because he was so rooted, when he went to see the world, he was able to paint a picture, as you mentioned before, he was able to paint a picture that was through the eyes of Torah. A picture that most people wouldn't have seen, and painted an image that was so valuable and so incredible. Such a tremendous push that we have to even know a person like that. And the reality is that painting an image was something that he did and something that we all do. How many of us here can have an image in our head of the images in our head of Zaida sitting in his house in the summer with 3 sweaters at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, right? And not breaking a sweat. And we all run for air. How many of us have the image of his face about the theater that he mentioned before when he would start speaking? And how even if he wasn't feeling well, if he was weak, as soon as you asked him to speak, he was ready, right? Always ready. And unprepared, but always ready. Shurin motto. How many of us that saw him, all of a sudden he would have this image, he would completely come to life. You would feel the color come back into his face. How many of us have that, remember that image on his face when he was holding court? And everybody would gather around and he was talking, and he would be sitting in his chair and everybody would gather around, and how much he loved just to hold court and tell stories. How many of us have that image in our face, and when he would laugh at the joke that he shared for the last 600 times, one that he heard at the yartzeit convention How many of us have that image on his face when he was how excited he was when he shared his Torah and be reading out his favorite svarim, which were all his own. We all have these images in our heads. And I have an image in my head when he would hold my children, and how excited he would be holding my children and posing for a picture. These are the images that we have in our head. And I have one last image that we'll share as we talk about the images that are created. And that is, Bobby, I'm going to ask you to look around this room and look upstairs and see the kids destroying our face up straw. That's why we did it here. The You look around this room and you see all these people that love him tremendously and respected him and revered him, and you see this image, this image of all these people around him, and this is quite a story. This is his story. And what a beautiful image it is.